All right, so I wanted to talk about handling benefits, specifically health insurance, because I'm noticing a new pattern. If you read the book, let me start first with the established pattern. If you read the book or you go through the online course, you'll notice that I think the online course goes deeper into benefits than the book. You'll notice that I say that the best the best defense against when you're offered health insurance and you already have another job, right? So in this scenario, what I'm talking about is you have one job, you have health insurance through that job, you get your second full-time job, and now they're asking you about health coverage, right? So I used to advise, and I think that's still the main advice, but the advice was that you should waive coverage if you can. Like, just tell them that you're covered. You don't need the new coverage. It's fine, right? Or conversely, accept that coverage and then renounce the coverage on the first job if the second job had a better plan or whatever. The point is that you didn't want to necessarily insurance stack, right? Like the idea is that we do job stacking, we do paycheck stacking. That's not a problem. But health insurance stacking, it's a little bit, it can be dicey, right? Like it can expose you. So I usually, my go-to advice was like, hey, just waive coverage. In the way more advanced job stacking, like for instance, if you have more than 3 jobs and you're making like a ton of money, my advice was like, just get your own health insurance. Do not have health insurance depend on your employer. I get that is usually very expensive. So that's why it's not like go-to advice immediately, like, oh, you should just get rid of all health insurance, employer provided health coverage, just buy your own health insurance. That's for more advanced job stacking where you already have more than 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, that sort of stuff, where you're really raking it in. And that sort of, it's cheaper at that point to have your own health insurance and not depend on anybody and not have to worry about anything. But again, if you have 2 jobs, even the first time that you get to up to 3 jobs, that's not necessarily the best plan, right? So I used to say, or I still say, but it was like my main advice or the exclusive advice was just waive coverage. What has happened? I've started to notice now, thanks to working with so many of you guys and just keeping in touch, like as you probably know, I still do job stacking. So I still get new jobs. So I'm still like, I still have my fingers on the pulse of the job market, right? So the new pattern that I've started to see emerge is that employers get really skeptical about people that waive coverage. They make it really annoying. They want you to prove that you have coverage someplace else. And I've seen people that were not in the program, like they didn't join the program itself, but that they only paid for like a couple coaching calls with me, or like maybe 1 call, 2 calls, right? Like not the entire program. This was a very specific question that tended to come up, people that waived coverage and then they did it in a way that exposed them to their employer basically getting wise to the fact that something they didn't necessarily detect that they had multiple jobs, but it was fishy, right? So employers, for whatever reason, they do not like it when you waive coverage and you do not demonstrate that you have other coverage. And the problem with demonstrating that you have other coverage is that obviously in a lot of the insurance cards, it says that it's employer provided, or there's something that could, it's like information that we don't want the other employer to have, right? We don't want it out there. The problem was not that if you had 2 health insurance plans, that inherently posed a risk or anything like that. It could, in the sense of like, if people, if you try to use both, right? Like, so, again, in the course, I say, if you happen to have 2 plans, remember to only use one, or to never kind of like try to claim 2 things, like use the same, the both insurance companies or both insurance plans to claim the same thing, because you're going to get caught immediately, right? So what's happening? Employers are making it more difficult to just waive coverage. So what's the new alternative, right? Like, what can we do? Because we really, again, you can accept the plan. It just raises some risks, right? Like it's still fine. Like all the alternatives so far are fine, but there's one that I think right now it's the best, which is if your employer or suggests that they have an HSA, like a health insurance, health savings account. I forget what the acronym is for. This is more for people in the United States. I know we have some people from Canada here, so bear with me. The health savings or whatever account, right now, I think it's the best option because, how do I say this? Like, there's no legal compliance requirements on the part of the employer regarding it, right? So you can open it. The employer opens it for you. They deposit some money. It's some account, some amount every year, and that's it. They're not required by law to follow up, to even submit documentation or anything. It's kind of like the account is open, and everything is up to you, right? All compliance issues, you own them. So this means that you can just accept the account, right? Like tell people like, hey, or tell the employer, I'm fine with the HSA account. And usually HSA accounts come with a high deductible, whatever plan, right? Like a high premium, high deductible plan, like a really crappy plan, health insurance plan. Because the point is that they give you that, you have the health insurance, the HSA account. So the beauty of this is basically that you're not only fulfilling the requirement of like being safe regarding the health insurance. When I mean safe, I mean in the context of job stacking. I don't mean health-wise, like your health. I mean, like you're fulfilling the requirements of like reducing the amount of risk of being found, but you're actually getting a bonus. Like because the HSA is cash, like it's actually cash that you can get. It's like they're paying you extra now. So instead of now waiving coverage and like getting nothing, because I always said, if you can turn benefits into cash, then go for that. But that is almost, that usually doesn't happen except for HSAs. And it's really simple. What you have to do is accept it. Since you have coverage from some other place, now you have an issue of compliance with the IRS because they don't let you, if you have coverage, they don't let you have one of these accounts, right? Or because these accounts, there's like tax incentives or there's a tax structure where you don't have to pay tax on that money. But if you have coverage, then that becomes taxable income. All right. So that's what's happening. So it just becomes income basically. Right. So all you have to do, right, like you are not breaking the law. There's no criminal offense, nothing like that. All you have to do to comply is take the money out of the account. And you can actually just call the account provider. And one of the valid reasons to take the money out is that you already have an account. You already have a health insurance account, or you're already covered by health insurance. So this works the best now, I think. This is a better option than just waiving coverage. It's a way to actually turn health insurance into cash. And you just have to be diligent about getting the money out. Otherwise, what happens if you don't do it? What happens if you forget, you don't take the money out? Does the account, the account holder or the account provider tell your employer? They do not, because again, there's no requirement to go back to the employer. The employer is not required to audit any of this. All they are required to do is, report the income, report the fact that they provided this income to you. And then the rest is between you and the IRS. And the IRS does not go and rattle on you, to employers, okay? So you forgot about taking the money out of the account. What happens next? Simply, the IRS is just going to impose an excise. It's not excise. It's excise tax on it, and so it's the amount in the account is just going to be taxed at like 6% until it's empty. Okay. And so that's it. That's all that happens. Nobody goes to jail. There's nobody gets called. HR doesn't get called. Nobody gets accused of fraud. Nothing happens. There's a very high tax that gets applied to the account if you forget. If you take the money out, then it's just more taxable income. You report it as usual, again, taxable income, and that's it. So basically, once you have job one, they have your health insurance covered. You get job two. If they offer an HSA account, take that immediately. That's the best option right now because it's basically getting extra cash. Again, just remember to comply with the IRS. And that's it. That is right now the best advice. Like this is the seeing market conditions, seeing what's happening. This is the best advice that I can give you right now regarding health insurance. On top of what we already talked about the fact of like, hey, if you have two plans, don't use, don't double dip. Basically, don't try to cover the same thing with both plans. Just stick to one. But this is even safer. This is way better because you're getting actually money. You're getting cash. It's not a lot. I don't want you to think that, because it's, it says health insurance account, that employers are going to pay you like thousands and thousands of dollars every month or every year. But it's a nice bonus. It's like something, extra cash that you can have. So that is what I wanted to talk about regarding benefits, regarding little optimizations that we do in the job stacking world as things change, as things develop. We keep you up to date on the best strategies.